The Lex Luger documentary is coming up. Is this what I'm hearing?
I believe so. I believe it's Sunday night. A documentary looking at Lex Luger should be interesting.
On the Peacock?
On the Peacock.
So now help me. Explain this to me, Lucy, Ricky. This is still part of the WWE Network programming. It's just it's on the network on the Peacock rather than. This is not something that Peacock has done independently.
No. 6 months ago, this would have been on WWE Network.
Okay, so but we have seen clips that indicate that Lex has been interviewed in modern times because he looks like he does now and he's in the wheelchair. So there's some clips of that. So apparently, since he is cooperating in it, they're not going straight for the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior type of thing, but more of a redemption story. Because I think they even mentioned, I think the word redemption might even have come out of Lex's mouth.
You know, from everything I've seen with Lex over the last several years, every interview, every clip, I think it would be pretty hard to do a hit piece on him right now.
Yeah,
it seems like he's the one guy that bad shit happened to, and it looks like it legitimately humbled him.
It did.
Changed him and made him a better person.
But see, it still wouldn't be hard for Vince if he wanted to, but I was just thinking, okay, who did Vince hold the grudges against? Was that Savage? And fucking Lex was persona non grata for a while, but I'm hoping this, and I guess it will be fair, and I'm looking forward to seeing it, because we've talked about Lex not a bad guy. He wasn't a wrestling fan or a person who understood kind of what wrestling was, and I think there was even in a clip in one of the highlights from this that somebody said Lex maybe it was Brett, didn't enjoy going out and interacting with the fans as a babyface. He wasn't comfortable. Remember, that's why we said he was a more natural heel and a better heel, because he had kind of an aloof manner, and he was so perfect in almost every way. But like you said, between the health issues and all the stuff that's happened, he has really become, a different person, and not just because of the religion thing. I know I've said this, and I don't want anybody to say, well, you don't give anybody else a pass for finding God. Well, I'm not saying that it was the best thing for Lex either, but apparently it was better than his alternatives. But it's not just about being the same person, but now you believe in God because you fucked everything up. Lex legitimately comes off as much more nice, more humble, more grateful for things, more personable than he was, when he was the package. Not to say he was a prick at that point. At least he never was to me. It's just, he just wasn't. I don't know if Lex was a person that was ever suited to being in an entertainment business or a public figure or a celebrity, because he looked perfect, but he didn't. I think maybe now some of the problem was he had some kind of ego, but he didn't have an ego about how good he was, because I think down deep he knew he wasn't all that good. Does that make any sense?
It makes lots of sense, although I will say, as I've always said, Luger was really good late 88 on. Late 88 through at least 91, Luger was great.
Well, but I'm not even talking about in the ring now. I'm talking like with the when they decided when Vince wanted to make him the next Hogan and gave him the Lex Express, he's got to go out and shake the hands and kiss the babies. He was not comfortable with that. He wasn't confident. I don't think that the people were going to like him. Was it a little bit of Barry Windham syndrome in that he didn't mind being one of the top guys, but he didn't want to be the top guy? Was it? I don't know. Well, maybe we'll find out in this documentary. Anyway.
It really is one of the amazing things about Hogan. Hogan was the right guy to give that kind of push to. He could handle that pressure, and he could deal with everyone every single day.
And if they weren't around, he'd drum them up somehow so they could give him more attention.
Flair, too. I mean, really, when you look at Flair, you could put all the pressure in the world on him. He handled it well. He could do press interviews. You haven't seen it in a very long time. I miss the old reserved Ric Flair. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I miss that. Ric Flair. You don't see that anymore, but he could handle the pressure and do all that.
But he could switch around. He could, if he was being interviewed by George Michael for NBC, not the singer, but the sports machine host for you younger fans. he would be the yes, sir, no, sir, and he'd be the world champion, and he'd have the suit, and he'd look good. But at the same time, he had such a personality. When he walked in the room, you knew he was in the room, whether it be Bennigan's or Applebee's or the locker room or whatever. And Lex was not that outgoing of a person that one would think that he would want to have attention heaped on him. Anyway.
Did the Horsemen try to get him? One last question about this. Did the Horsemen, because they did party together, and they were outgoing kind of guys. When he joined the Horsemen replacing Ole, did they, knowing that Crockett Jr. was investing all this money in him and he was all over the Yapter mags, was there an attempt to try to get him to party with those guys and hang out with those guys and get him to be part of that group?
Well, I wasn't following him around, so I can't say what went on at Applebee's when, just the Horsemen and every woman in the particular city was around. But, they were more concerned with training him in the ring. And that's what the on-the-job training was, from those tag matches and six-mans and JJ in the corner and et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure that, there were invitations given for him to go out or whatever, but he naturally gravitated more toward a guy like Sting. That's why they were friends and business partners in the Gold's Gyms and everything for a while, because you can see they work out together. They've got that in common. Even though Flair worked out, obviously overworked out, he had a gym in his own home, but that was a means to an end of being a wrestling star, whereas Sting and Luger had worked out before they got in wrestling, and that was a more natural personal pairing, especially when they were on the same side as baby faces and they could go out in public together. But the Horsemen were primarily trying to train Luger in the ring. I don't know if Jimmy Crockett wanted them training him to go out and drink with them, because that obviously, with things that happened later on in Lex's life, may not have been a good thing that early.